Hey, welcome to Leadership Live with Anton Gunn. It is Wednesday, 9 a.m. Good morning to everyone. I hope you are making it and breaking it and taking it and faking it until you can get it done wherever you might be in this world. I'm excited today because I want to know that this is a new month. This is the month of June 2024. And just in 1 week, I'm going to unveil some brand new research that I have done about what is happening to people in the workplace. And when I mean what's happening to people in the workplace, I'm talking about the injustices that are happening to people in the workplace. That's right, I said injustice. There's lots of injustices that are happening to people in the workplace. And as a leader, you need to understand what's going on. This is actually having a massive impact on your culture, having an impact on you recruiting talent, having an impact on your bottom line, and more specifically, is having an impact on how people are acting at work. Now, when I mean acting at work, I'm talking about the stuff that they do, stuff that you don't necessarily see every day as a leader, but it could be happening and having a massive impact in your workplace. So I wanted to start, before I release this research, I want to kind of set the groundwork of what you might be doing unintentionally that could be creating unfairness or injustice in your workplace. These are things not you're intentionally doing, but unintentionally doing. And you very well might have some leaders in your organization who are doing these things intentionally. And it's not just something that is like going to overwhelm you in one day. It's what I like to call professional poisons, a slow acting poison that you can see it show up when that employee who was excited and energetic the first day they came to work, and they maybe were excited the first year, but now they come in and they look like the man who's making the donuts in the Dunkin' Donuts commercial. They're lethargic. They're not invested. They're not inspiring. They're not offering the ideas that they used to offer to the organization for it to prove. They're not doing anything to add more to the mix. They're just doing the bare minimum. And this slow acting poison has seeped into their system and is squeezing the life out of them. And soon they might be perpetrating injustices against other people. Or you as a leader might have perpetrated some injustices that have contributed to these poisons taking effect and taking hold inside your organization. So I want you to get ready, get your pad and your pen out. I want to ask you some questions about what might be happening in your organization and give you what I call the 7 hidden signs of an unfair workplace. Again, this is a prelude to my national research report. It's called The State of Workplace Injustice. You will be able to get a copy of it. I'm going to give you all of the tools that you need in order to be able to understand what's in this report, see what's happening in your organization, but more importantly, let's work together to make sure you don't have these hidden signs or any overt signs, and that you don't have that professional poison seeping through your workplace that is making it hard for your employees to thrive. I really want everybody to thrive. So we got to find some way to address these unfair things that are happening in your culture. So let's jump right into it. This one is not going to be super long today, but I want to give you this in preparation of what's going to say in this report, what you're going to read in this report, and what you'll be able to do to get a copy of it. And I hope you read it through, share it with your leadership, share it with your teams, but most importantly, take an assessment that I am offering to help you to figure out whether you have a toxic culture, whether you have a what I call wretched culture, inside your organization that is killing you from the inside out and costing you more money than you could ever imagine. Okay, enough hints about the report. Let me get on to these 7 signs, what I call the professional poisons. So sign number 1, do you have a culture of fear? When I say a culture of fear, I want you to understand that a good, healthy organization has an open door policy where people are not afraid to speak up in meetings or come in to bring you problems. I know, but sometimes there are leaders who say stuff, don't bring me no problems, just bring me solutions. But sometimes employees don't have a solution or they haven't been empowered to implement the solution. And you know, I've talked about that before, is having an empowered workforce. But if you have an environment where people are not empowered to implement solutions and you tell them, don't bring me problems, bring me solutions, you're never going to get a solution and they're never going to tell you about the problem because that's creating a culture of fear. Another aspect of creating a culture of fear is that when somebody brings a problem, when somebody speaks out about something, when they become vocal about something that's going wrong, are they rewarded for speaking up or are they punished for speaking up? I remember working with an organization was telling me stories about employees who didn't want to speak up. And when I got a chance to interview some of these employees, and I said, well, tell me why you don't speak up. And they start telling me a story about someone who spoke up, who lost their job and they don't work here anymore. And I'm saying, well, when did this happen? And they tell me that happened in 1975. I said, wait. It's 2000. You telling me about something that happened in 1975 and you're telling me that people are still holding on to that? Yes, because what happened in 1975 had people so afraid that for the next 25 years, they wouldn't speak up because you've created a culture of fear. Now, I'm being dramatic about this one circumstance, but it don't have to be 25 years. You could have done something to somebody 12 months ago that put a chilling effect over everything in the workplace. That Bob, who we all love, spoke up about a problem, and then all of a sudden, Bob is not working here anymore. He's been forced into retirement because he told us he wasn't trying to retire. That's a culture of fear. Now, a culture of fear by itself doesn't mean it's a totally unfair workplace, but it sets the table for everything that could begin to go wrong to create an environment where people just let stuff go. They don't speak up. They're afraid to speak up. So they become bystanders to watch bad things go down. They don't serve as allies to people who are experiencing things that go wrong. You don't want a culture of fear in your organization. You don't. That's sign number 1. Now, sign number 2, and I'm going to be real simple. How about I give you an example, which is, you ever heard of the phrase, they keep moving the goalposts? I know people say this phrase a lot, but if you're not a football fan and you don't watch sports, you may not have no idea what they mean when they say keep moving the goalposts, which is the goalpost is a goal that is centered and upright where everybody can see it, and it's in the middle of the field. And so if you position yourself in the right way, you can put the ball through the goalpost. You can achieve the goal. But the term moving the goalpost means that you're moving the goalpost to the left. You're moving it to the right. You're moving it back. You're moving it at an angle. So it's harder for me to put the ball through the goalpost. So what am I saying to you? Are you setting inconsistent goals across your organization? That you might have people in the same department doing the same work, but somebody has a different set of goals than everybody else. That they have a unfair, more difficult framework to achieve what they try to achieve. This happened in sports so many times. I remember talking to an athlete about an experience that they had to run a mile in a certain time. Let's just say they had to run a mile and a half in 9 minutes, okay? And then so this athlete ran the mile in under 9 minutes, but then the coach says, well, you failed in this one because I thought that you were better than that, and I thought you could run it in under 8 minutes. So they changed the goalposts But for everybody else, it was running in 9 minutes. So in your workplace, do you have those kinds of unfair expectations? Putting more on people than what they can actually handle. I know this happens in healthcare and in social work tremendously. So here's a social work example. The average social worker, if they want to meet the needs of those clients, they need a caseload of about 75 people. That's as many people as you can get to in a 30-day period and do a good job. Now, you could probably run through all 150, but you won't be able to assess their needs, their concerns, if they're vulnerable to abuse and neglect. So 75 is the max. But there was an agency in a state where the social workers had an average of 156 cases on their caseload. 156. And I'm talking about with children that are in the foster care system. 156? And the average is supposed to be 75? So you got twice as many. So it's not surprising that one year that no one was able to get around and see what was happening to this young child who was in the care of a foster parent. Actually, I don't even know if it was a foster parent, but they were in the care of somebody and the child died from neglect. So you got to set fair expectations or otherwise bad things can happen. Now, do you have a culture where the expectations are not clear, that they keep moving, they keep changing? And I'm not saying changing after review to make sure those goals are calibrated, but is there inconsistency and people can see someone else's goal and says, that just ain't right. That's unfair that you're forcing them to do this in under 8 minutes when nobody could do it under 9. It could be unfair. That's sign number 2 is unfair expectations. Now, sign number 3, this is the one that we all know exists in the world, and I hope you are not contributing to this as a leader, and that is favoritism and inconsistency about not just the goals and the expectations, but who gets promoted, who gets invited to the company luncheon to sit at the head table, or who do you call to join you for the happy hour, or who did you intentionally leave on or leave off the email when you were saying something to a broader group. See, there's a lot of favoritism in organizations. The boss's nephew gets privilege, or the daughter of the person in HR gets the opportunity, that sometimes the most qualified person don't get the job. See, I remember an example of another client that I was talking to. Leader been in this organization for 12 years, doing an incredible job. Matter of fact, they would move him around to every difficult store that they had. And when I mean every difficult store, this is in the retail restaurant management industry. Not really retail, but restaurant management. They would move him to every difficult store and he would turn it around, rebuild the culture, get the turnover rate down, get everybody retrained. And then the money was coming in because people were getting better service. So after 12 years of doing this work, when a senior level position, a GM position came available, this person who was good enough to come and run multiple stores when there were problems knew that he would be good enough to get the opportunity to lead in that organization and be the GM. But unfortunately, he never got a phone call for the job interview for the job. Instead, he gets a phone call saying, hey, I'm your new boss, and I'm coming down to meet with you to tell you how we're going to turn things around. And he's thinking, who is my new boss? And I don't need his help turning nothing around. I done turned around every store in this region that had a problem. Who is this person and why didn't I get a chance to interview? Well, a long story short, turns out this person who got the GM job happened to be related to someone in the corporate office. How about them apples? There's favoritism and inconsistency in meeting out promotions and creating opportunities, who gets to apply for roles. That's the third sign of poison in your culture, the hidden sign. Now, some of you might say, these ain't too hidden, Anton. I see these every day. Well, that means you have a culture and an organization that's full of injustice. And I'm going to talk more about that next week and the week after and literally for the rest of the summer, because I want y'all to understand how bad this problem is. But right now, let's stay focused on these hidden signs. So number 4, this is a big problem that a lot of organizations don't really recognize that they're doing. And that is a lack of rewards and recognition and appreciation for a job well done. Everybody likes appreciation when they do a good job. I know that they're expected to deliver on their work. They know that they're expected to deliver on their work. But is it really that hard for you to say, I see what you're doing. I see the work that you're putting in. I see that you're getting things done. I want you to know I appreciate you. Like a DJ Khaled, I appreciate you. Whatever it is, you need to show more appreciation, more recognition for the people on your team who are getting the job done. If you're not appreciating your team, then that is a poisonous thing to have going through your culture. Lack of recognition and appreciation. Now here's sign number 5, real simple and easy. Limited growth opportunities. Do you have a very flat organization that doesn't have an opportunity for people to either get promoted or to add more responsibility? See, after a while, the good people, and when I mean the good people, I'm talking about the good employees, the high potential, high performers, they're going to want more responsibility. They're going to want higher opportunities. They're going to want bigger pay. And if you don't have a pathway inside your organization for people to grow, to get new opportunities, that's a bad culture. People are going to leave. Now, if your organization is so small that you don't have any upwardly mobile opportunities, this message ain't for you. It's not. But this is for the person who works in an organization that got at least 100 employees. Because I'm certain in 100 employees, there should be some growth opportunities for the people that report up to you. There should be. Definitely if it's 500 or 1,000 employees, even if they can't get a growth opportunity working for you, can you help them to get to a new department? See, that's what a good leader would do. But a leader who's not doing that might have some hidden signs of poison in their culture, which is not giving people growth opportunities, not putting them on committees, not giving them access to be at higher level meetings. These are all things you could do for growth opportunities, but so many leaders aren't doing it. Now, here is sign number 6 of unfairness, what I call poisonous signs to make your culture bad and hostile, is what I call poor work-life balance. Let me ask you this, Mr. or Mrs. Leader. Are you emailing your employees over the weekend? Are you expecting them to respond to your emails over the weekend? Are you sending text messages after hours without permission to send text messages? Are you forcing people to come in on their day off? Or worse still, are you asking people to postpone their vacation for projects, for deadlines? If you're doing that, you are creating an unfair and toxic workplace, because there should be some balance for W-2 employees. Let me be clear. I personally don't believe in work-life balance as an entrepreneur. It's called work-life harmony for me, which is I ebb and flow in and out of work and life. Matter of fact, I mix my work and life, which is I'll have a keynote speech in a nice location, and that's all business, but I'll bring my wife along to allow her to enjoy it. I'll need to go to a conference for professional development. I'll bring my family along so they can enjoy it. I have that work-life integration, work-life harmony. But if you got employees, are you making them work on weekends and at nights? Are they taking time away from their family because you have demanded of them that they need to get some work done? If so, that's a poisonous culture, toxic culture, seeping all over. That's sign number 6 is no work-life balance or poor work-life balance. Now, sign number 7 is the obvious one that if you see this sign, then you know the other 6 probably already exist. And that is a high turnover rate. And some of you might be saying, Anton, what is a high turnover rate? Well, I'm going to say it varies by industry, but I'm going to safely say every company should have about a 10% turnover rate. Some might be lower, others might be a little higher, but in general, I'm going to say about 10%, which is if you have 100 employees, about 10% of them should be leaving every year. Maybe they're moving on to bigger jobs. Maybe they got a better opportunity. Maybe they're retiring. Maybe they're transferring. Maybe they are leaving because of illness. Healthy turnover is about 10%. But what's unhealthy is there are some industries that have 50% turnover, 50%. That means half of the workforce is gone in a year and they're replacing them with new people who they got to retrain all over again. And if you got 50% or anything above that, you're in a crisis. You need some help. Or as the kids would say, you need some milk. You got to get your weight up. Because 50% turnover is unconscionable. 30% turnover is unconscionable. Could you imagine that in a 3-year period with a 30% turnover rate, that 100% of your employees would leave? See, I know a place like that right now. I was just with a person this weekend who told me that literally in the last 3 years, things have turned over so much that nobody remembers who the previous 2 executives were because they've all turned over. Nobody knows them. So that's my question for you today. Okay. Do you have some professional poisons in your organization? Do you know the 7 hidden signs of an unfair workplace culture? If you don't, I just gave them to you. And I'm going to repeat them again. Number 1 is a culture of fear. Number 2 are unclear expectations. Unfair and unclear expectations. Is there favoritism or inconsistency in how you mete out punishment or give out promotions? Is there a lack of recognition and appreciation? Is there limited growth opportunities? Is there poor work-life balance? And number 7, do you have high turnover? If you do, you need to stay tuned to this bat channel next week as I bring to you some new key data and insights in my new report called The State of Workplace Injustice, looking at the impact of injustice on the workforce and in your organization. So with that, I want to thank you for watching. Please stay tuned. See you next week. I got more information coming at you. Everybody have a fantastic Wednesday. Take care.